Story name, Photographing a Ghost. One cold evening, Ryan loved taking pictures with his new camera. He went to an old house at the end of his street. Everyone said it was haunted. Ghosts aren't real, Ryan laughed. He stepped inside carefully. The floor creaked, and the wind howled through broken windows. He started clicking photos. Click, click. Suddenly, his camera flashed by itself. "That's strange," he said. He looked at the picture and froze. Behind him was a blurry white shape. He turned around quickly. No one was there. Ryan's heart beat fast. "Okay, maybe I should leave," he whispered. But as he walked out, the camera flashed again, this time showing a smiling ghost waving at him. Ryan screamed and ran home as fast as he could. The next morning, he checked his camera again. The ghost was gone. Only his scared face remained in the picture. Ryan smiled softly. "Maybe some things aren't meant to be photographed," he said. Moral of the story: curiosity is good, but respect what you don't understand. Story name, Never Play Hide and Seek at Night. It was a cool Halloween night when three friends, Arjun, Neha, and Ravi, decided to play hide and seek in their backyard. "It'll be fun in the dark," said Ravi. Arjun laughed. "Okay, but just one round." Neha covered her eyes and started counting. 1, 2, 3. The boys ran to hide. Arjun hid behind a tree, and Ravi hid behind the shed. The night was quiet except for the sound of wind rustling the leaves. Suddenly, Arjun saw another shadow move beside the fence. "Ravi, is that you?" he whispered. No answer. The shadow slowly waved. Arjun stepped closer, but there was no one there. He ran back shouting, "Let's stop the game!" When they all went inside, Neha said softly, "I never found you, but someone whispered the number 10 in my ear." They stared at each other in silence. From that night, they promised no more hide and seek after dark. Moral of the story: some games are meant for the daylight. Don't take safety lightly, even for fun. Story name, The Imaginary Friend. Little Anya loved to play alone in her room. Her parents often heard her giggling and talking. "Who are you playing with, sweetie?" her mom asked. "With my friend Mira," said Anya, smiling. "But Mira isn't real," her dad laughed. Anya just shrugged. "She says she is." At first it was cute. Anya would set an extra plate at dinner and whisper to her invisible friend. But strange things began to happen. Her toys moved at night, and sometimes her parents heard two voices laughing. "Maybe she's imagining," said her mom nervously. One morning, Anya said, "Mira said goodbye. She's moving away." Her parents felt relieved until they found a small, dusty handprint on the window from the outside. No one had been there. That night, Anya whispered in her sleep, "I'll miss you, Mira." And in the dark, a faint giggle echoed back. Moral of the story: not every friend we can't see is imaginary, and sometimes imagination can feel very real. Story name, The Ghost Call. It was late at night when Rahul's phone suddenly rang. The clock showed 3 a.m. "Who's calling so late?" he whispered. The number on the screen was strange, all zeros. "Curious," he answered. "Hello?" No one spoke. He only heard soft breathing. "Who is this?" Rahul asked. Then a quiet voice said, "I'm outside your door." His heart jumped. He ran to check. No one was there. He locked the door and returned to bed, but the phone rang again. This time, the same whisper said, "Why did you hang up?" Rahul shouted, "Stop calling me," and threw the phone onto the table. In the morning, he told his mom. She said, "That's impossible. Your SIM card expired yesterday. Your phone shouldn't work." Rahul froze. He checked. There were no call records at all. That night, before sleeping, his phone buzzed once more. A message appeared. "Good night, friend." Moral of the story: be careful what you answer in the dark. Curiosity can open doors that should stay closed. Story name, A True Horror Story. One rainy night, Ria was reading a horror book in her room. The thunder rumbled outside, and the lights flickered. Her phone buzzed. A message from her best friend, Tara. "Are you reading that ghost story again?" Ria smiled and typed back, Yes, it's called a true horror story. Just then, she heard a soft knock on her door. Mom? She called. No answer. The knock came again, louder this time. She opened the door, no one there. She went back to her bed and looked at her phone. A new message had arrived, but it wasn't from Tara. It said, "Don't open the door again." Rhea froze. Her heart pounded. She checked the number, unknown. The lights flickered once more, and when she glanced at the book, a new line had appeared on the last page. "The story is about you." Rhea slammed the book shut. The next morning, when she opened it again, that line was gone. Moral of the story: sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that feel too real. Always keep your imagination in check. Story name: The Strange Little Girl. One cold evening, Mira moved into a new apartment with her family. Everything seemed fine, until she started hearing soft giggles from the hallway at night. When she opened the door, she saw a little girl in a white dress standing there, holding a red ball. "Can I play with you?" the girl asked softly. Mira smiled nervously. "It's late, maybe tomorrow." The next morning, Mira asked the watchman about the girl. He looked shocked and said, "There are no children in this building." That night, the giggle came again, this time from Mira's room. The red ball rolled slowly from under her bed. She froze in fear. She whispered, "Who are you?" A faint voice replied, "You said tomorrow, and it's tomorrow." The next day, Mira's parents found the ball lying near her pillow, but Mira had no memory of the night before. Moral of the story: never ignore strange signs or voices. Sometimes kindness can open doors best left closed. Story name: Inside the Elevator. Ravi worked late every night at an old office building. One night, he finished work at midnight and took the elevator down alone. The building was silent. He pressed the G button, and the elevator began to move, but suddenly stopped at the 4th floor. The doors opened slowly, though no one was there. Then the lights flickered, and a soft humming sound echoed inside. Ravi quickly pressed the close button, but the elevator didn't move. In the mirror, he noticed something, a faint figure standing behind him. Heart pounding, he turned around. Nothing, but the mirror still showed the shadow. The elevator started moving again, going up instead of down. It stopped at the 13th floor, even though the building had only 10 floors. The doors opened to darkness. A whisper came, "You shouldn't ride alone." Ravi screamed and pressed all buttons. The next thing he knew, he was outside the building, trembling. Now, every night, the elevator still stops at the 4th floor, even when no one presses it. Moral of the story: sometimes it's better to take the stairs, especially at midnight. Story name: The Things That Look Like My Grandparents. When Mira's parents went on a trip, she stayed with her grandparents in their old farmhouse. They were kind and loving, or so she thought. The first night, Mira woke up thirsty. As she passed the kitchen, she saw her grandparents standing very still, staring at the wall. Their faces were blank, and they didn't blink. Slowly, they both turned toward her, smiling too wide. "Go back to bed, dear," they said, but their voices sounded wrong, like two people speaking at once. Scared, Mira ran to her room and hid. In the morning, her grandparents acted normal, cooking breakfast, laughing and asking why she looked pale. That night, she locked her door. Around midnight, she heard knocking and whispers. "We love you." Mira opened the door. The next morning, her real grandparents arrived from their trip. They said they never came home early. Mira looked outside and saw two dark shapes standing in the field, smiling up at her window. Now, she never stays alone at night again. Moral of the story: not everything that looks familiar is safe. Trust your instincts. Fear can protect you. Story name: The Haunted Playground. Every evening, Rohan and his friends played at the old playground near the forest. It had rusty swings, a broken slide, and a merry-go-round that squeaked loudly. One evening, after everyone left, Rohan forgot his ball and went back alone. The wind blew cold, and the swings moved by themselves. Rohan laughed nervously. "Maybe it's the wind," he said. But then he heard giggles. Children's giggles. He looked around. The playground was empty. Suddenly, the merry-go-round started spinning fast. Tiny shadows appeared, shapes of kids, running, playing, laughing. One shadow turned toward him and whispered, "Stay and play with us forever." Terrified, Rohan ran, but his ball rolled back to the swing. The shadow child sat on it, still smiling. Rohan didn't stop running until he reached home. When he told his parents, they said the playground had been closed for years after a terrible accident there long ago. The next morning, Rohan saw his ball on the porch, muddy and wet, even though it hadn't rained. Now, no one goes to that playground after dark. Moral of the story: some places are meant to rest, not to be disturbed. Story name: The Man Under the Bed. Late one night, little Arian was getting ready for bed. He had always been scared of the dark, especially under his bed. Tonight, as he pulled the blanket over himself, he heard a soft thump-thump coming from below. Arian froze. "It's just my imagination," he whispered to himself. But the sound grew louder, like footsteps moving slowly under the bed. He peeked over the edge and saw two glowing eyes staring back at him. "Who's there?" Arian asked shakily. A deep, quiet voice replied, "I'm waiting for you." Arian screamed and jumped onto the floor. The lights flickered, and suddenly, everything was quiet. The next morning, his parents checked the room. Nothing was under the bed, no eyes, no footsteps, just a small note that read, "See you tonight." Arian never slept alone again. Moral of the story: fear can be real, and sometimes it's better to listen to your instincts.